I'd just been introduced to this movie 20 years ago. And I threw it out there. And then from that movie, I made the list of all the things I wanted in my dream guy, right? And so me and my girlfriends are watching this movie, and I get my sheet of paper. We all got a sheet of paper. We all started to make this list of all the things we wanted in our dream guy. And I wrote down at the top, my Prince Charming, and he was tall, and he was handsome, and he was strong, and his parents were still married, and he was had great values. He was kind-hearted. He wasn't a sports junkie. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. I had all these things that I wanted in my dream guy. And not even 3 weeks later, my girlfriends and I are out at this nightclub, and we meet this guy, and at the end of the night, this guy and I were talking, and the lights come on. It's kind of odd because, do we get phone numbers? What happens? And his friends are outside. It's freezing cold. And they're like, yo, Prince Charming, let's go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? And I look over at this guy, and I'm like, there's a list under my pillow that has my Prince Charming written on it. And I am not going to tell him because he's going to run away screaming. However, we ended up falling madly in love, and we've been together for almost 19 years.
Real women, real lives, real stories. This is the Ladies in Power podcast. Unfiltered, unscripted, and refreshingly authentic. We're not holding back, and maybe after this, neither will you. Let's go.
Welcome to the Ladies in Power podcast. Today we are going to be talking about our favorites, our favorite movies, books, teachers, vacation places. My name is Mika Casey.
I'm Sandeep Batha.
Dr. Soraya.
Govinder Dal.
And we are Ladies in Power just like you. So, ladies, who wants to start with their favorite whatever?
Why don't we do favorite books?
Okay.
Favorite books, can it be from any age, or is it just recently we're talking about, or just something that left a huge impact?
Whatever you like.
Choose.
Whatever
you choose.
Yeah.
Choose.
I was thinking the best book I ever read was when I was maybe 13 or 14, and I read The Wuthering Heights. I think it's by Emily Bronte, if I'm not mistaken. And if you like romantic books, it just left such an impression. I loved it. I loved the love story. I loved the fact that she waited for Heathcliff. Everything about it. But I don't know if I can just say it is the book of all times.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Les Miserables by Victor Hugo is a classic about giving chance to somebody who nobody would give a chance to. So if you haven't read it and you don't know what I'm talking about, is when a felon steals from a priest and the priest turns around and says, no, I gifted him these. He didn't steal it, to prevent the guy from going to jail only because he wanted to give him a second chance. And the whole thing unfolds, and it's amazing. But those are stories. If we wanted to talk about books that are not stories, nonfiction, I would say one of the best books I read recently was by Joe Dispenza.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it in our other podcasts.
Was it Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, or the
No,
supernatural?
The supernatural.
Okay.
Thank
Becoming
you.
supernatural.
Becoming supernatural. Because things like energy, sending energy to someone else over long distance and healing them, has been something that has only been attributed to sages, Sufi masters, priests, prophets, and now it's coming to a level of everyone knowing about it and everyone being able to perform that kind of work. So I just picked up a book by Dan Brown about that exact subject, that now energy is what he talks about in his book, Secret of Secrets, and I'm not going to give anything away. This is no secret. I'm not divulging anything, but he talks about there being one conscious being.
Mhm.
He talks about there is no brain. It's not like we're storing stuff in our brain. That's not where the knowledge comes from. Knowledge comes from tapping into a universal consciousness that knows everything.
That's Dan Brown that wrote that?
Yeah,
Wow.
in his new book. And I'm like, this is what we just read.
Yeah, that's amazing.
In all the prophets' books, that's what we read in Joe Dispenza's book. And now he's talking about it and bringing out research that supports it, all in a framework of a story. So if I had to say maybe what was recently my most favorite book, I would say Dan Brown's Secret of Secrets and Joe Dispenza's Being Supernatural.
Oh, that's amazing.
great.
Yeah, Dr.
Wow.
Joe Dispenza, I just love as well. And you've inspired me to, I mean, one of the greatest books that I've ever read was The Slight Edge.
Oh, I don't
And
Who's that by? Do you
I
remember?
no,
Okay,
thank
it's
you
okay.
for
That's
asking.
okay.
We will
We'll-
put it
yeah,
in the
we'll link it,
comments.
for sure.
Yes.
I'll link it in the comments. It's one of the best books I ever read, and it's about the compound effect and learning about the compound effect.
Oh,
So the compound effect is another one that Darren Hardy wrote.
yes, that I read.
And the slight edge goes a little bit broader, and I found it a little bit of a more easy read. And then I think about Think and Grow Rich from
Oh, yes.
Robert Kiyosaki. And these books are educational books that growing up with not a lot. At some age, I was like, okay, what is the difference? Why do some people have tremendous amounts of money
Mhm.
and time freedom? My parents work their guts out. We have nothing. And I don't understand. And it was one of my mentors that introduced me to these books many, many years ago. And I'm so grateful because it changed the course of my life. That is what made me go from modeling to acting was one of the things, because modeling, you get a one-time pay.
Mm.
And I learned from Robert Kiyosaki about leveraging and residual income, ongoing income, the different kinds of money. And so I wanted to earn residual income. And I learned from movies, which to this day, I still get checks from movies that I filmed 30 years ago.
Wow.
I still get checks for some of the songs. Well, not some of the songs, one song that I recorded that's in the TV show Degrassi, which is one of the biggest shows in the history of television. And they purchased one of my songs. So I still get residual income from these things that I did decades ago.
Oh, it's
And I
amazing.
never would have learned about it had it not been for these books. And the paying yourself first, those things are The Wealthy Barber is another
Oh,
one. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, like
Yeah.
that's a great for 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15, 16, or if it's your first book on learning about money and you don't want to be overwhelmed, it's a phenomenal book to introduce you. Those are two great books to get started, I think. Not Think and Grow Rich, because that's
Rich
like
Dad,
a
Poor
Bible.
Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did I say Think and Grow Rich?
That one was
That's Napoleon
Hill.
That's
Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
And that was much later in my career that I learned about that one. And I have so many favorite books I love to read. Those ones were the most profound in my life, and still to this day help me to understand the value of a dollar earned, a dollar spent is $2 earned. And it you have to make twice as much as you spend because of the numbers. And I never learned
Taxes.
about it. Yeah,
And
taxes
yeah,
as well,
taxes, yeah.
inflation, all of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have one? I do have a
Go for
book.
it.
There was this author that I loved back in the day, back in high school, just like you. He's a Canadian author, and his name is Guy Gabriel Kay. And he wrote this book called The Fiona Barr Tapestry. So these 3 books. And I read all of them. And I would be in my room reading at all hours of the night until I finished them. But they had such a profound effect on me. It was mysticism. It was about sages, but it was about these 5 or 6 students from Toronto that were brought into this parallel universe. And
Ooh,
just,
wow.
it was about energy. It was about love. It just had everything in it. And then fast forward to 2017, I read a book by Mark Wolin, and it was called Trauma, It Didn't Start With You. And that had a pivotal effect on me. Just talking about how every single relationship really does matter. And what happened in those relationships, what happened with your ancestors really matters. And we need to plug our holes in. So if we have all these we have all these thoughts about ourselves that may not be ours. They come from an ancestor. And that led me to Dawson Church and reading his books, Genie in Your Genes and Bliss Brain, which I just finished reading. Absolutely love it. And it talks about the whole connection to a higher power. And then it led me to, I just finished reading about Neville Goddard. And Neville Goddard says it's our consciousness. It's the way we receive things is how we think about it. So think great things. See yourself, whatever position you want to be in, school, partner, money, see yourself in that. Use your imagination, be creative. And that's what links us to a greater power. So it's really interesting to me that being in high school, reading Guy Gabriel Kay, and then fast forward Mark Wone, and right now Neville Goddard, everything is somehow linked. They all have the same stories, but there's a slight different edge with them. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting that, started as a teenager.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So all eyes on me. In my youth, my dad used to do something quite funny at home. So the phone would ring, and whenever he picked it up, he just had this phase where he would answer it and say, "Hello, God speaking." And we would just be like, "What is he doing? Why does he do this?" And whoever was on the other end of the call would just find it really hysterical, or they would just be like, "Wow, like I'm talking to God. This is pretty cool." So he just did this thing, and it just always cracked me up. And at some point in my 20s, I came across a book called Conversations with God. It's by Neil Donald Walsh. And I thought, well, this is about my dad, so let's see what my dad thinks of this book, about a conversation with himself. And I didn't do any research on it. I just loved the title, and it seemed very, very interesting. So I gave it to him. And not even really knowing if he was much of a reader. Like, I know he was on this search for truth, and he was reading, actually he was reading quite a few books, but I never really knew if he read them or if he just sort of, breezed through them. So fast forward so many years, and on the bookshelf, I'm there not too long ago, a few years ago, and I see the book, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if Dad ever read this, because even if he did or didn't, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to read it now. So I pick it up, and first of all, the sweetest thing was my dad did read the book, because I didn't know he did this, but it was so cute. But in the margins, in his handwriting in pencil, if there was a word he didn't understand, I could sense that he would have gotten to a dictionary, looked up the meaning. So he'd write the word, and then he's written the meaning of that word in the margins.
Wow.
And first of all, I was like, oh my gosh, it really mattered to him to understand the words and understand what he was reading. So that, first of all, blew me away. And then I was very proud of myself for getting him a gift that he actually used and loved. But you guys, so I read the book, and it is probably one of the most, at that time in my life, so maybe a few years ago, very profound truth-telling. Like, it really was this conversation with God. And it's a very, I love the God that speaks in this book. And just a very matter-of-fact, very, not caught up in superstitions or rules, and just really explains the questions. And how the author came to be was that he was at a very frustrated, low point in his life. And he's just frustrated. And then he starts writing something to God, like, I need answers. And, why is it like this? And all of a sudden he goes, my pen sort of just started moving. And the pen I wrote, do you really want to know the answers?
Oh, wow.
And he's like, yeah, I do. And so then he just kept writing. and the answers came through God.
Wow.
So that is the conversation with God. So it's this back and forth question answer. And as it turns out, I forgot, but I'd given my dad another version of, like a later version of it too. Not a later version of it, but another book. And so he had two of them. And that book had three, why can't I find the words? But three novels, not three books within a book.
A trilogy?
A trilogy,
A
thank you.
trilogy.
So there was a follow-up to those books. And then there's actually another fifth book that I'm currently reading right now. So I read it really slowly, but it's really been there's been a great impact on my life from that book. And I just absolutely love it. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not religious, spiritual, not spiritual. I think just the truth within it really resonates for me. So I really, really love that. And I knew I was going to have a hard time narrowing to one book. I have so many favorite books in my life. And if we venture off to the fiction side, there's no way I can narrow down which is my favorite.
Nah.
But I just finished a book, and I listened to it this time, called The Tiger and the Cosmonaut. And I don't even know what year it's from. I don't know the author because I was listening to it. But it's actually a really beautiful story. And what I loved about it was the very slow unraveling, because I'm learning about myself that I really love things that unfold in a very unexpected and very slow way. And this book kind of didn't really have my attention very much, but at some point you just get jolted and you're like, whoa. And then it just moves, and all the little hints that maybe you didn't pick up on the way just all come together in the second half of the book. So it's a fictional book, and it's just really beautifully written. The other thing I loved was that it's set in the Lower Mainland and on the island where Powell River is, and it's a town called Wilhelm. I don't know if it's real. I have to still look that up. But it's so it's a local setting, and I loved that I could visualize local scenes and memories of going on a ferry somewhere. And the story is just quite entertaining. Yeah, so those are two that I'll mention.
The tiger and the what?
The Tiger and the Cosmonaut.
What's a cosmonaut? We don't know.
I can't
Is it
remember.
like a
it's somebody
Cosmo, or
interested
is
in the
it
cosmos.
Okay, that's fine. But it's an interesting title.
It's an interesting title. And when you read the book, it does make sense why it's called that. And then there's many books, like I remember reading A Suitable Boy that took me probably a year to read. It's the thickest novel. And I couldn't tell you what it's about, but I just remember that I'd never wanted that book to end. And it took me over a year to read it. It was just so
We'll
long.
link that one in the comments.
We definitely will, because I couldn't tell you anything about it, but it was really, really a beautiful, it was like a movie.
Speaking of movies, because we can talk about books all day long, and we are moving along. How about you lead us with movies? What are some of your favorite movies at this time of your life?
No, I can't even talk about this time. I honestly, my brain cells just go mush. But the movie that I always recommend, without fail, is a movie that was, I don't even know how old it is, 15, 20 years, but it's a Hindi movie with great subtitles called Three Idiots.
Oh, I've heard that name come up so
it's
much.
called Three Idiots.
Yeah.
I've never heard of
I would
it.
just say watch it if you really, if you want to be like, not wasting your time with, sometimes you kind of go, somebody recommended it, but it was okay. This is the movie I recommend, knowing that someone's going to come back to me and say, I trust you with movie recommendations. You're good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's really, really good. There's a lot of themes in it. It just is really, again, played out beautifully. Lots of characters. There's, the Bollywood, like a little bit of romance in there. It's got it all. So it's a really, really well put together film and touches on some really meaningful topics and subjects. So I'll stop there, and I could go on and on, but let's hear from any one of you, ladies.
I will do the Hindi movies too.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it started. I did not realize that English movies existed, because when I was in England, this is crazy. When I was in England, all my grandparents did was watch Indian movies.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so I had no clue. And then one day my cousin came over and he put Star Wars on. I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. So it started off with Hindi movies for me too. I just love the songs. I love the dancing, and I just love the meeting. And I learned about soulmates from all of our movies. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Dil Wale Dulhania Le Jayenge, Kabhi Kush Kabhi Gum, Dal. So all those classic movies I grew up with and I absolutely love. Today, I love Serendipity. That's my go-to
With John Cusack
with,
and
Kate Beckinsale.
that's right.
And so it was one of the first movies that I watched with my husband, and it's about John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. And is it fate? Is it coincidence? What does serendipity actually mean? And it's this beautiful, beautiful movie about chance meetings, and she wouldn't give him her information, and he really wanted it, and they almost met through elevators once again, but it was not meant to be. So she placed her name and number in a book. Oh my goodness, and now I forget the name of the book.
That's okay. It's the movie.
Lovin' the Time of Cholera.
Oh.
So she placed her name and phone number in this book, and then she went and placed it back at the antique bookstore, looked at him, and took off.
Wow.
And before she took off, he wrote his name and number on a $5 bill, and she took it, went, bought a packet of gum, and said, "Okay, see ya. If we're ever gonna meet, we will meet." And for years, they went off doing their own thing, and then he was about to get married, and he knew her name was Sarah, and he kept hearing Sarah everywhere in a song. The hairdresser was Sarah, so he's like, "Oh my God, what is going on? Am I supposed to get married in 2 days, or should I go find her?" And then he chooses to find her, and then he gives up. And at the last possible moment, his girlfriend
You're not going to
gives-
give away the
You're not
answer,
going
right?
to give away the answer. No, don't
Gives-
give it away.
Oh!
Don't give it away.
Don't give away the
Okay.
answer.
Don't watch it.
Okay,
That,
watch it.
watch it.
Yes.
Watch
No,
it.
but come on, gosh,
Watch
how
far is she going
Okay,
to go?
sorry. And the crazy thing is that I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to find the book? Just find the book.
What book?
Love in the Time of Cholera.
It is. It's written, and I just told you guys to read it
I have it
a
on my
couple
bookshelf.
of weeks ago.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Actually, it's not called Love in the Time of Cholera. It's called The Painted Veil.
Oh, you did mention
Oh.
that.
Yeah, it's called The Painted Veil.
But there
and
is
it's,
one called Love in the Time of Cholera, too.
Is it
Yes.
really?
There's
Yeah.
and so
I thought it was the same book. Who is your book written
I'll
by?
have to find it.
Gabriel Garcia.
Oh, then it's definitely not the same
Okay.
book. Okay, because this is by Somerset Maugham.
Mhm.
Okay, fine.
And so in 2019, I went to Indigo. I had to go grab something, and when I was purchasing whatever I was purchasing, they asked me if I wanted to donate to a kids charity book club, and I said sure, why not? And I'm like, go ahead and choose the book for me. So they chose a book for me. I'm like, super cool. I go home and I start unwrapping it, and guess what book it was?
Love in the Time
of Cholera.
Wow.
So
You
I
have
was
your
so
own
really
serendipitous
cool.
moment.
It
That
was a very
is
serendipitous
pretty
moment.
cool.
Master manifester.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was and I still haven't read the book. It's in its brown package. So I had no idea what I was choosing. I just said yes.
What are you waiting for?
I know.
Oh my
gosh.
That will be the book over Christmas.
Yay.
Yeah, that's cool.
So movie and book in one.
Mhm.
You want to go?
Okay, sure. So speaking of Dr. Joe Dispenza, What the Bleep?
Oh.
What the Bleep is,
Yes.
it's kind of a documentary. It's quirky. It's odd. It's not like, dig in with popcorn maybe and feel good about yourself movie. However, it gets you thinking about your thoughts and about gratitude and how things show up in your life when you focus on them and the power of manifestation. And
I'll leave it at that. It is spectacular. It is over 30 years old, I think. Maybe at least 20 years, maybe 20, maybe 25 years old. And that book or movie afterwards led to the movie The Secret, which
Oh.
was similar. And I think The Secret did a better job at explaining the power of our thoughts
right.
and our emotions, and that it's not enough just to think about something. You want to connect your energy and your emotions to it already happening, as you were sharing earlier. So when you think, so the reason these ones are so powerful in my life is because the movie The Secret I watched with my girlfriends, and in that book, there was a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor, a very legendary Bob Proctor, who passed away at 87 just a few years ago. Bless his heart. And actually, one of my favorite books was his as well. You Were Born Rich, phenomenal book. And that film, I saw this man and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to meet him. I would love to work with him in some capacity. It was this, I'd just been introduced to this movie 20 years ago. And I threw it out there. And then from that movie, I made the list of all the things I wanted in my dream guy, right? And so me and my girlfriends are watching this movie, and I get my sheet of paper. We all got a sheet of paper. We all started to make this list of all the things we wanted in our dream guy. And I wrote down at the top, my Prince Charming, and he was tall, and he was handsome, and he was strong, and his parents were still married, and he was had great values. He was kind-hearted. He wasn't a sports junkie. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. I had all these things that I wanted in my dream guy. And not even 3 weeks later, my girlfriends and I are out at this nightclub, and we meet this guy, and at the end of the night, this guy and I were talking and the lights come on. It's kind of odd because, do we get phone numbers? What happens? And his friends are outside. It's freezing cold. And they're like, yo, Prince Charming, let's go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? And I look over at this guy and I'm like, there's a list under my pillow that has my Prince Charming written on it. And I am not going to tell him because he's going to run away screaming. However, we ended up falling madly in love, and we've been together for almost 19 years. So that movie has a strong connection to my life. And within less than, I would say, about 5 years after that, I met this lady at a conference, at an event, and she and I went and had coffee together, and she told me that she works with Bob and Linda Proctor.
Wow.
And she introduced me to them, and I ended up working with Bob and Linda for 10 years. And I brought Bob Proctor to Vancouver for an event at the Hilton and sold out 500 people, raised money for charity, and had a private dinner with him at the Hilton. And I mean, it was it was just incredible. That was the last time he ever came to Vancouver to do an event. And so those two movies have huge impact on my life because our thoughts create our emotions, create our actions, create results. And for the cozy movie, I would say Hidden Figures. If you haven't seen
I
that
have
one,
seen that one. I
Fantastic.
have. It was very
Hidden
good.
Figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hidden Figures.
Yeah, it's a woman who was the first African American allowed to
Yes.
go to college, and she found out what was important to the judge and presented it in a way so that the judge was open to seeing why she might be the first African American to ever go to college when it was only whites that were allowed. And then she ended up becoming a NASA contributor. And I won't share anymore because if you haven't seen it,
It's
it is
very good.
really
Such
one
a
of the
good-
greatest inspirational movies of all time for me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Exciting. Add it to my list.
Add it to
Yeah.
your list.
Such a good movie.
Well,
So-
I should have let I should have let me go first before Mika, because what do I say after that?
What do you
I
say?
say? I love going to people who read palms or coffee cups. And we were just over at the island, and we'd gone into this little shop. And I said to the shopkeeper, just out of the blue, hey, do you have someone that read palms? And he says, yeah, actually, we do. So, anyways, next thing I know, I'm sitting in this dark little room, and she's reading my hand, and she goes, you can't watch movies or read books that talks about hurting people, can you? And I was just shook. I went, no, I can't. And she says, you've got these water drops on your finger, and those are extremely sensitive people. You're an empath, and there's only so much you can take. And I wondered why for years I couldn't listen to news. Or if you told me a child was abused, I would say, don't tell me more. And my mom would go, well, you have to know more because that's what the world is about. There is a visceral thing. I just can't watch it. And there is so many good movies like Sold, which is about a little Indian girl that gets sold. Never watched it. I just read the back of the book. A lot of Persian directors make amazing movie. Mr. Kiarostami is one that writes about separation and the life of Iranians in Iran. Amazing photography. I can't watch it. So it narrows down very little what I actually can watch. And my favorite is The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson, followed by Hobbit, also the prequel to this, because it's a fantasy land. It's a fantasy land that the good always win, that nothing bad ever happens. Even if it does, it's only for a short while. And I just love looking at those kind of movies. I love to see Aragorn get his sword and fight all the bad guys. And I actually scream, you go, you go. And my husband runs in, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, they just killed the bad guy and he deserved it so bad. I just go nutty nutcase. And I love movies like that, or The Little Hobbit. And outside of those, The Matrix. And the prequel,
so good.
Yeah.
it was so good. And even now, many years after Matrix, I'm like, are we living in a Matrix? Is this the Matrix? Did I take the blue pill or did I take the red pill? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I seriously suggest you watch Matrix. Truly one of the masterpieces,
Great
I think,
movie.
of our
Great
time.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow, how special. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank
haven't
you.
seen, those movies, The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm getting an education in Lord of the Rings over the holidays. I've got some really good friends, and they were horrified to discover I've never watched.
Horrified.
I know, it's a horrifying thing,
So
apparently.
good.
And they're like,
Why?
so we're setting, because it is just such a
Is it that good?
classic. And
Okay,
it's so
fine.
good, and there's so
Okay,
much.
fine.
It's more depth than you would imagine too, is what I've been told.
I
So
suggest
were
the two of you
beautiful.
watch it together.
Yeah.
we will
We
understand.
could have movie night.
Yeah.
We could film our reactions.
We'll be whispering in the background going, remember this?
You can do
Remember this?
this.
Or
You
we do-
can do this.
Right? Yeah. Throwing popcorn at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So that was as far as the movies are concerned. How about places in the world we've seen?
Oof.
Oh.
That's
Did you
even
do
harder.
movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not?
Did I?
I think, did you? What was your
Oh,
movie?
yeah. I said Hindi movie 3
Oh, you
Idiots.
did? Okay, okay.
Yes.
My
I
apologies.
thought she
My
started.
apologies.
She
Yeah.
That's
started.
right.
You
That's
started.
right. I
You
did.
did.
Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking in.
Okay, so vacations or teachers?
Which shall we do? Vacations first.
Go for it.
Now, I'm really proud to say I've visited 150 countries
Holy
in the
wow.
world.
Wow.
I started since I was 15 and I love to travel. And truly, there are so many beautiful places in the world. I mean, amazing places that you want to go because of the beauty of it. Paris, London, people go because it's for shopping, Italy, all of those countries. But what stuck in my mind the most was Tibet, and it was Bhutan. Tibet and Bhutan, not because they had good hotels. It wasn't that they had amazing service. Especially Bhutan, you feel the spirituality of the place in the air. If you're looking for a spiritual experience, yes, India has always been on top of everyone's list, but Bhutan is not touched by tourists. But the idea of tourism, they don't cater to tourists. They don't want us. There is actually a thing that for every tourist, they have to pay $250 a day to stay. And not many tourists feel like they want to pay that, so they don't go. But people are so into themselves, their spiritual sense is so strong. And there is one particular place or monastery called the Tiger's Nest. And you almost have to walk 9 kilometers straight up. I think it's 2,000 feet.
Wow.
And you go to the very top of this mountain to see this monastery where, if you're lucky, you get blessed by a monk. And just going up there first thing in the morning, because it has to be done, being by yourself, going through this path is just really, really magical. And I think out of all places, that was an experience that was a wow. I would really recommend people experiencing it for the one time. And also Tibet, because of Dalai Lama, because of where he lived. And one thing you see in Tibet is what you never see anywhere else, is what they call the debate of the monks. And you're like, I don't want to go see some monks debate. But you go see about 500 monks, all in the same, debating their spiritual understanding in a corner.
Oh, wow.
And if they don't disagree, they slap each other really hard on the head. And it's almost a shock that these really quiet creatures like thunk and the other person. And I think they do it to kind of move their state, kind of like what Tony Robbins does, to give you a different perspective. And you see these guys tapping each other on the head, flap, 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 tap, tap, tap. 500 of them clad in the same. And it's the most interesting thing to watch. And we went from who wants to see that to staring at it for 2 hours. The most incredible experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. We recently went to Greece and Turkey and Malta and Barcelona.
Beautiful.
Been to England and other parts of Europe. But I would have to say my favorite is still Hawaii. There is something so sacred about the Hawaiian Islands. And I have to say Oahu is my favorite. I love, love, love being in Oahu. It feels like home. So my husband and I always, whenever we're there, and the kids love it too, whenever we're there, my husband and I are like, this feels like home. Like being on the island of Oahu feels like home. It feels like we're coming back to ourselves. I find it so sacred. I want to touch the trees. I just want to sit in the sand. I want that water to come up, and there's just something so sacred. I just feel at peace. I feel I'm just one with the universe when I am in Hawaii. So
fair enough.
yeah,
It
which
is one
Hawaii.
of the most beautiful places.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's stunning, stunning, stunning. But we're always in Kolina, the
Is that an island?
southwestern part of Oahu. Love being there. Yeah.
All eyes on me again.
Yeah.
I'm going to really be disappointing in this because my soul is struggling to pick a favorite. We've like been to, I think, close to 60 countries, traveled a lot. And I feel like the minute I say one thing, my soul's going to be like, how could you pick that? What about this? But for me, like, as I'm listening to you all talk and I'm closing my eyes, I'm thinking, all I'm having is flashbacks of this moment and that moment and this moment and this person and this scenery. And there's just so much running through my head that I'm actually I'm very inspired to do a bit of a bucket list of my travels. Because until I sit and actually pause and remember and think, it's astounding experiences that I've been privileged to have. But not wanting to really truly disappoint. Oh, there's just so much. I don't know how to pick. I really don't know how to pick.
I'll pick and we'll come
Thank
back to
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please. I really am.
Go for it,
It's hard.
Mika.
It's okay. So for me, it's Italy because I got to experience Italy with my mom. And to be with her, the top of her bucket list trip was to do a Mediterranean cruise. And so my husband and I decided to make that happen for her. And we went, we landed in Spain. It was such an extraordinary trip. But there's a moment when we were at the Colosseum in Italy, and my mom was here and I was behind her, holding her, and we were both looking down into the Colosseum. And it was a little bit rainy, it was chilly, and so that's why I was holding on to her. And it's such an emotional moment that it will be forever one of my favorite places because of what happened there with her.
Yes.
And the journey of going through Italy and having our espressos and the fresh fruit and driving through the streets of Naples where the streets are so narrow and the cars are going like crazy. People are hugging the walls as the taxi's driving through, and literally they've got like 3 inches between the car and the person hugging the wall. And going to, the driver taking us through the back access to this pizza place up the stairs, and we're having the best pizza I've ever had in my life in Naples. And the music is coming because we're the tourists. And, of course he's paid to bring us there. Who cares? The experience is extraordinary. I ate the whole pizza. Oh my gosh. And then we went to, I think it was called Palermo.
It
Where
is Palermo.
where
Yeah.
the all the ashes came and buried everybody alive, which is just
Pompeii.
Pompeii. Thank you,
Pompeii, yeah.
Pompeii. The most horrific things to imagine. As we were walking through Pompeii, my husband was with me because we're builders in our construction company, and he's always looking for ways to be more effective to build. And I'm looking at how the streets are built, and there's elevated areas so the floods don't, ruin the cities, and then how they've done this thermal, engineering 3,000 years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so slow and outdated in Canada. It's unbelievable. They've had solutions to so many of these problems like thousands of years ago. And it reminded me of, for me, it was about who was on the trip with me that made the trip
Yes.
spectacular.
Yes, very good point.
And I wish I had gone first. Like you said to me, I wish I had gone first. 150.
No, but you are so true. Even if you think about all the countries, like Sandeep was saying, it's really hard. I mean,
Yes.
how can you compare Russia and all the
Yes.
palaces to Italy? And you can't. But you said it so eloquently, Mika. It is who you're with, and that impression of, why did that mean so much? The way you were hugging your mom, I could feel it. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see, mother and child just exchanged positions. You were holding her. You were taking care of her. You did something for her. I almost cried there. So I'm not going to cry. I always cry. I'm not going to cry. But I'm just saying it was so spot on. And thank you for bringing that. It's not just the place, is what did it create in us? What emotion? And that was beautiful. It was beautiful. Now we're both crying. If mosquitoes are running, if mascaras are running, don't buy the brand. Don't buy the brand that we're wearing.
Would you like us to try out different brands and let you know honestly what we think?
We could fry.
We really could. We could do makeup and
Waterproof
skincare, and we would give an honest opinion, so we wouldn't be sponsored. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So you want to go at it, or we skip you
I
this
think
time?
you actually just added evidence to why I was struggling, because it's not always just about the place.
Yes.
Because the places we've been to are stunning, but it's, a 3-generation trip with my mom and daughter to Greece, and the conversations we had over dinner and talking about each of our childhoods, and that how do I say that is a favorite. And then San and I we went to Rarotonga for our honeymoon, for part of our honeymoon.
Oh,
And how can I tell you about how
Love.
crystal clear that water was, and how you could just walk for, it felt like a kilometer out in the water and still only be up to your knees. But the number of fish I've never seen again like that, like crystal clear. And just sitting all day on those white sand beaches. Or how do I tell you about my parents' 25th anniversary trip where we went to Darjeeling in India into the tea plantations and watched the most epic sunrise on Tiger Hill.
Oh,
Like just something that was such a dream for my mom, and to witness my mom experiencing something that she must have dreamt of since she could know about it. But to see her and my dad celebrate their 25th anniversary there, and then us taking our kids for our 25th anniversary, we went to Africa and did an African safari. Like sitting here, just it's like a moving reel that I just how do I pick that and how do I pick that, and the conversation. So, wow, what a disappointment! But I really just basically. I love travel, but the moment you described with your mom, I feel it didn't have to happen in the Colosseum for it to be that moment. It could happen on the White Rock Pier. So travel is, for me, more about the moments that are created, the people that you meet, learning about another culture and all of that. But I'm getting a bit too philosophical on it, and it's just a favorite. Favorite countries? I love Turkey. Yeah, I'll go with Turkey.
I hope it's Thanksgiving somewhere. I think that's funny.
Just to be.
She twisted her own arm. Okay, we're going with Turkey.
We're going with Turkey. And as soon as I say that and I listen to this podcast, I'm like, why did you say Turkey? Why did you say
Turkey is amazing. I mean, it is amazing.
And it has the food, the scenery, the architecture, the people, like all of it. So
I hope what our listeners get out of this is that there's beauty everywhere, and it's maybe not one place is ever better than another. It's great to explore, to experience different cultures, different foods, different energies. Canada's 360 years old-ish, and you go to Europe or you go to Africa or India, and there's thousands of years of culture and buildings and generations of family harvesting food or wine. I think about France and, meeting the vintners with their purple fingernails. And it's very difficult to choose.
It's difficult to choose. I mean, what compares to our Stanley Park seawall? Right? Like, you can go there and
it's pretty nice.
Pretty nice. It's like I'll go there and feel like a tourist every single time.
And yet people, you go to the best places in the world and you see two people being so absolutely miserable. As well,
or
right?
eating at McDonald's,
or if they're happy, I'm happy for
McDonald's. I don't understand that. I'm just saying,
like, people are miserable no matter where you go, and it's a joke, right? If you're miserable here, you're going to be miserable over there.
It's true.
You're still taking you with you. So two things came up for me. One, yes, you can have the same experience at home. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars, but if you do and you save up and go on a trip, don't let the little things get in your way, Well, it's raining today, which is my thing, Oh, I came all the way and it's well, that's just marvelous,
Don't you have 6 pairs of fabulous rain boots and the cutest
doesn't matter. I go
for
the sun. Like if I had gone to Hawaii and it rained, I would have sit there pissed. Like I don't want to see the rain. And this was a good reminder that, hey, you're here. Put on your raincoat and just enjoy who you're with. Enjoy your children. Enjoy your mom. Enjoy whatever you're creating. So thank you for that, ladies. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So can we take a minute each and go through teachers?
100%.
Yes. Me, I know exactly who it was, Mrs. Sutcliffe. Forever it will be Mrs. Sutcliffe. Tall, slim, curly hair. And she was the
British
only
accent?
lady. She taught me biology.
Does she have a British accent?
She had a British accent. But she was the one lady who believed in me when I was really little and I needed that friend. And I will never forget her. By far, always me and Mrs. Sut.
Yeah, it's so cool. What age were you when you had her as a teacher?
That was probably 11 or 12.
Okay.
She took the time to explain things. She would come to the back of the class where I sat and said, "Do you understand? Do you want me to go over it with you?" Never made me feel stupid. It was like, you need that extra English, being not my first language. You need that little extra push. How can I help? Really compassionate. And to me, she could have been a goddess. Like, I didn't care. She was that one savior in that whole school, and I will always remember and appreciate it.
Very cool. I've thought about this over the years. My favorite teacher, grade 2, Mr. Zaff, Zapf, because he made such an imprint on me. Maybe not in the time that I had him, but in later years, looking back, he was incredibly special. I think he was a hippie. Now looking back at him, he was a hippie. He, we would play checkers in the class, but with myself, I don't know why, but we always played chess. So I've always was made to feel quite special in his classroom. We would go to the library, and because I was a voracious reader, I was allowed to go to the intermediate side of the library. I was the only kid that I was allowed to read the bigger novels. And it was just something about him seeing me. He saw me, and he saw something special in me, and he, without saying a word, his actions to this day are imprinted in me that I was somebody special as a 7-year-old. And then beyond that, he played the guitar, and I remember learning, at the time I didn't know they were Simon and Garfunkel songs, but Hello Lamppost, how what is it called? Groovy. Feeling groovy. Yeah, such a great, yeah. And I learned that song as a 7-year-old, and you can imagine parents, immigrants, and this kid is singing the song. It makes no sense, but so much culture came from his teachings. And he, honestly, I've looked him up. Even now, I'm like, I wonder if Mr. Zaff, is he still alive? Could he still be alive? I'd love to somehow find him and tell him what an amazing, amazing, amazing teacher he was. And yeah, just truly what a difference a teacher can make.
Yes.
And like I said, he didn't necessarily praise me verbally or any of that. It was just, he just saw something in me, and it was really, really, really cool.
This is hard. Oh wow. There we go.
Fast.
I'm going to say one of them was Mrs. Elder. In grade 4, I had only been in Canada for 2 years, and I still had an English accent. And it was really hard to communicate with people, and so I did whatever I could to get rid of that accent.
British accent?
British accent, because nobody understood me, so yeah. Yeah. Who knew that you needed to get rid of a British accent? Now I want my accent back. But Mrs. Elder was not a feminist, but she was a truth teller. And that's what really stood out for me in grade 4. She just would always set facts out and talk about the truth, and that made a big impact on me. That's what I really loved about her.
Yeah. Very cool.
My favorite teacher is my grandfather.
Oh.
Yeah. As you know, I went to 10 schools, and none of my teachers were very good that I can honestly think of any of them. They were, unless so I could go Mrs. DePura, who was grade 4, and she's the one that made me wear a dunce cap and called me stupid and broke the meter stick over the back of my hands in front of all the class. She made me wear gum on my nose. She stole my journal. She made me sit outside in the hallway because I was accused of cheating because I was doing really well on the tests. All year long, there's one school trip, we're going to Casa Loma, and everyone, it's a big deal. It's a lot of money for parents to scrounge up to let their kid go on the field trip. And so I was so excited about this field trip because in Toronto, there's this huge castle called Casa Loma, and it's all lit up, and it's got stables, and it's just massive. And you wouldn't think that Toronto has a castle. When you're a kid, it's like, it's the castle of all castles. So, oh my gosh, we're going to go. Well, I didn't get to go because they accused me of cheating on a test because I did so well. So on the day that they all went, I sat in the library and took a test again and did even better the second time under supervision. And I'll tell you why she became my favorite teacher. And I'm really just realizing that in the last couple of years, because she taught me that not everybody's going to understand you and that people are going to be jealous of you. People are not going to appreciate when you challenge the status quo, when you ask too many questions. I was curious. I was always asking why, how, that's not right. This doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't add up. Can we talk about this a little bit more? Why is this happening? I didn't accept because the teacher said this, that was the rule of law. And that got me in a lot of trouble. It still does. And what a gift to learn at that age that there's nothing wrong with me. It's actually what's great about me. And it's helped me to lead my ladies in power. It's helped me to in all of my careers, because I had this experience with this teacher that just hated me. And I've tried to look her up. Initially, the first few years, to tell her how awful she was, and then to thank her. And I cannot for the life of me find her. So she might have changed her name, or maybe she's deceased. In any case, that
Maybe her and Mr. Zaff went off grid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, you're no spring chickens, so maybe they are not in this world anymore. I mean, I'm just saying.
Good grief. Well, we want to know, who are your favorite teachers and why? What is it about them that has had an impact on you? What is your favorite book or movie? How has this conversation inspired you or influenced you or triggered you? We would love to learn about you, because we all have stories to tell. And sometimes we go so quickly, we don't take a moment to stop and feel, think, reflect, discuss. And when we do that, we inspire each other, and we can also use these moments to heal, and to plan our next book, our next movie. I mean, I know now I've got a whole list of books and movies that I want, and places I want to go to. Bhutan.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm very inspired.
I'm excited.
And hopefully you are too. So, share this with a friend. Tell them to grab a cup of something they love or glass and just sit comfortably and take an hour for themselves, because you deserve it. They deserve it. We all do.
Yeah. Share it with one of your favorite friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
Okay.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
with
you.
that,
See you next time. The views shared on this podcast reflect our personal experiences and opinions. This content is not a substitute for professional advice. Please consult a qualified expert for any medical, legal, or mental health concern. If this conversation spoke to you, please follow the Ladies in Power podcast and leave us a review. Your voice helps more people find this sisterhood and these conversations. Together we rise. And remember, your voice matters here.